My name's Jack. I'm a professional private caregiver and I'm based in Kent in the United Kingdom. I don't think there is any comparing what I've experienced on this course with anything else. I think the whole purpose of the courses I've been on before has looked at the more clinical medical side of dementia and not about the day-to-day practical side, which is really what makes the big difference, not just to the person with dementia, but to the families as well. And also to me, it's given me 100% confidence in what I'm doing. I can quite happily tackle really challenging stuff, but also really silly stuff that we just can't work out, why is this happening and why are they doing this? But now I can be more of an investigator, more of a detective and get to the bottom of what's causing it. Whereas before I wouldn't do that. And I am also guilty of using the assumption, well, they've got dementia, but that isn't the excuse anymore. It can't be. There is no excuse. What it is a reaction to something. And that's what I've learned to deal with and tackle and find out about. It's not just the confidence, to be honest, it's the skills and the techniques that I just never knew were there. I never thought about myself. They might seem simple, but when you're applying them in practice, they just work. There is no arguing with them. They just do. And I didn't really expect it to be as good as it was, basically. So I'm really, really pleased. Yeah. And so career-wise, I'm just looking forward to being better and being known maybe locally for you can ask Jack about dementia because he knows. So I don't fear aggression or agitation like I used to. I have people that are moderate to end stage dementia. The strategies I've used from the course have worked in terms of calming people. And that's the approach that I'll use as standard now. That will be the go-to. And so because I know those strategies and those techniques work and so seamlessly, well, there's no question, there is no confusion about what to do. So I can also pass this sort of stuff on to families, and build their confidence. So if I'm comparing skills before and after, I would say, I mean, confidence isn't a skill, but there's no question I feel far more equipped, far better equipped to support people with dementia. So, my confidence is definitely far better post-course without a shadow of a doubt. Even the way I talk about dementia is different, which I didn't expect. After week one, the first sort of 6 hour session, I wanted to start putting some of the things that we had learned into practice. So it didn't take me very long to start experimenting with my people. Then it makes sense to just throw myself straight in and see what works and see what doesn't. I was hoping to have a mixture of the two so I could come back and say, do you know what, Deborah, this didn't work. What should I do now? Or ask some of my cohort friends what they would have done. But that wasn't really needed because everything I tried first time did work, which also was very unexpected, but also really, really brilliant. The course is structured in such a way where you're picking up really important things straight away from the outset. So it's not like other courses where you're building a summary of things straight from the off, and then the first week is just that. It's just what is dementia. You're into it straight away, unpicking things, learning about the in-depth day-to-day stuff that's going to help us. So yeah, I took away exactly what I needed to from week one. I was trialing on three of my people, seeing what stuck, and all of it did repeatedly. I'm seeing these people every single day, and I was living with one of them for half a week. So I had a good opportunity and, using times of day and things like this, when we know that sundowning comes along in the evening, I was able to try these things then as well. So it's not just, okay, well, I was there for an hour and these things worked. It could have been a fluke. It definitely wasn't because I was able to apply these things consistently to these people every day and throughout the day as well. And so, yeah, there's no holds barred, there's no holding back, I think, from week one. You've already got some skills and some techniques to try and it makes sense to just go ahead and do it because you have literally nothing to lose. The principles remain exactly the same across the board and can be applied in almost every scenario. There is a technique or a strategy that this course teaches that can be applied at any time and in any situation. And there's a few to go through. If the first one doesn't work, you've got more to try. And I think that's quite powerful. I think it's sad, actually, that it took me so long to find the course, and I'm glad now that I did, but it's important that we spread the word because the more people that experience this, the better care we can provide collectively. And this works globally. This isn't just about the UK. This isn't just about the US. Dementia is pretty much the same anywhere you go, and people can apply the same techniques. And so that's what I think is important. So the scripts that the course has given me have already worked. I used them straight away, no hesitation. I didn't think they would because some of them I thought maybe were seemed a little bit too simple, and they worked. This was a shower scenario. It was always very scared about showering, but the script saw me straight through. It was the best shower experience he's had in a long, long time, probably since pre-dementia. And so that was amazing for me as well because it was literally seamless. And he enjoyed the experience, which had not been the case for a long time. Well, certainly the 2.5 years I had known him. And so it blew my mind, really. But the scripts is essentially what helps to resolve those problems. And so, no question. And there's enough scripts to cycle through for an entire lifetime. So I know that if one scenario isn't working for one of my people, one of the other ones will. So I can literally pull it up or look at it on my phone and fire away and off I go. But I'm hoping over time those will be burned into my mind so that I can quickly draw upon these things without, opening my phone or spending too long thinking about how I'm going to respond to somebody, because these are sort of things I'm going to be using daily, so they should be right here at the front. The scripts and the sort of techniques and strategies, approaches, etc., that the course has taught can quite literally be used by anyone. There are scripts for almost every scenario. They're simple enough for everybody to learn and use and apply. And I would actually guarantee, as much as Debra does, that they'll work. Every time I tried one of the techniques or scripts, they had worked for me on 3 separate people that I support. So the most interesting one I found was probably to do with exit seeking. In my first year supporting him, actually absconded from the house, disappeared. There were police helicopters everywhere. We had police searching the streets. He'd gone. When he gets it in his mind, it doesn't matter about his level of mobility. He was gone. He had the strength to get onto a bus and he disappeared off to the next town along. So I wanted to put this to the tests, and the sort of exit seeking stopped instantly. First try, it worked, no question. We were at a point where he was actually removing the plastic surround from window frames and things, trying to break out. So it just stopped happening, which was quite profound for me because it seemed so simple. Nobody had thought of this. Why would we? And so I'm still using that now. I will continue using it because it's remarkably effective. Very simple again, but remarkably effective, but just not something I've learned about or would have thought about myself. So I needed the course to give me that, I think. I think the course has equipped me with the confidence, knowledge, and the skills to be able to support people with any stage of dementia, however they're experiencing and whatever dementia they develop. Applying the techniques has stopped things from escalating out of control. So that can only be a good thing for the person as well. And of course, families are seeing that their loved one is calmer, or things aren't escalating to a point where they're becoming aggressive. I have supported people that are physically aggressive as well. I never really knew how to deal with that at all, apart from running away, and that wasn't very good either, because they would end up calling for help and they didn't want to be alone. But then if I was stood in front of them, they would want to be alone. So that was confusing to me. But the course has sort of equipped me with the understanding why and how I can approach it and deal with it straight away. And so definitely, I would say the course has given me those 3 things: the skills, knowledge, and the confidence to tackle things before they get to a point where I wouldn't know what to do or it would be a crisis. My people are calmer. They're more compliant with medication, with activities, all these things that people tend to struggle with in the dementia realm, particularly medication. But the sort of scripts and the approaches that we're taught through the course have worked. It's also good from an external health professional's point of view, because I can quite happily say to a person's general practitioner or family doctor, medication compliance is not a problem. Medication is very important for people with dementia, particularly where it's helping to manage symptoms or manage pain if they have long-term pain conditions. Simple scripts and adjusting the way you approach somebody, even with medication, can completely change the way it works. And so I don't have those problems anymore. And I have actual confidence that I won't have them again because I know what I need to do, what I need to try, what I need to say, how I need to act. Everything about the program works. I would be quite happy in saying the course in its entirety works. The materials are excellent. Actually, it's probably the best money I've ever spent, apart from maybe a few good holidays, but definitely the best money I've ever spent, not just professionally, but personally as well. It's equipped me with far more than I had expected it would. Absolutely, yes. This is probably the only course I would have spent money on if I was clever enough to have found it before. The course was everything and more that I expected. Even going through the course after that first week, I thought, some of these things seem a bit silly. But when I've trialed them and I know that they work, it's just it's cemented everything into place. And it's made me think actually, no course I've ever done, not about dementia, but about anything, even my degree and things, and I felt pretty damn good about that at the time. Nothing's given me the same level of confidence that I have with dementia. If I was sort of approached for my opinion about a business or corporation investing in this sort of training, for anyone, let alone their staff or employees, I would tell them to go for it. There isn't a course like it. I know that for a fact. I've tried all of these sorts of things that are out there. Nothing that's £30 or $50 will compare in any way, shape, or form. And I think Debra does it the right way. She knows exactly what she's talking about. She delivers it in a way that people can understand and that people can retain that information. It's great being taught it and it's great discussing it, but it also has to sink in, and you have to get people on board to think about dementia differently. And Debra does exactly that. I use the word profound because that is the most powerful word I can think of. And I don't even know of any training courses that work this way in other conditions. They don't exist.
You too can have these amazing results, guaranteed. Join us in disrupting the memory care industry once and for all. To see if you qualify for our program, go to answersaboutalz.org and book an inquiry call.